Feminism has become a dirty word in our society, as many believe that feminists only focus on issues that occur to women in America. However, feminists focus on a range of ideas such as Black Lives Matter, reproductive rights, men dealing with sexual assault, and even more. While many believe that feminism has just started to appear in our society, feminism has actually been around since the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, when women first began to fight for the right to vote. Throughout this presentation, I will discuss the main topic of my thesis, a few of the most important women who have impacted feminism, and how women would not have various rights that they have now if it were not for these women. I will also be discussing issues that women of color face, reproductive rights, and rape culture. Finally, I will discuss how feminism has improved and a few of the issues women still face, along with how we can improve these issues. So, let's get started. Let's move back to the 1920s, where Alice Paul first started making an impact in helping women gain the right to vote. While she was very influential in the 1920s, she also made a difference later on in the 1940s. Here she helped establish the Civil Rights Act, and while previously women could be rejected from a job or education based on their gender, not only women, but no one can be discriminated against because of their race, religion, gender, or even more. Along with Alice Paul is a man named William Moulton Marston. I know that this presentation is focused on women and their rights, but men have also helped women along the way by being an ally, one of them being Marston. He was the creator of Wonder Woman and helped fight for women's rights by giving them better representation in comic books. Before, women in comic books always needed help saving by a strong man, as they were weak and dumb-witted. However, Marston showcased Wonder Woman as being feminine and strong as she breaks through her chains. Her chains actually symbolized the ways in which women during the time, the 1940s, were tied down by marriage and becoming a housewife. He showed that women can have a life outside of taking care of the kids, which no other books touched on at the time. Frida Kahlo, a Mexican painter, used her paintings to talk about childbirth, abortion, gender roles, and her own heritage, which were all very unladylike to talk about during the 1940s. Her paintings helped to make an effort to normalize these conversations. Here, many people who are opposed to feminism would say that women would have eventually gained equal rights, so feminism and the help by these women is not necessary. However, if we look at the timeline of feminism, during the Seneca Falls Convention in 1848, it was hard to imagine a female president. It also took 52 years for the suffrage movement to even take effect, and now in 2017, we still have never had a woman as president. So while yes, I do agree that women would have gained some rights, women would not have gained as many of the rights as they have right now. Hillary Clinton ran her campaign and came as close as a woman has ever come to being president, but she still lost, and partly due to the fact that she was a woman. The main fact here is that we need powerful women to pave the road for us in all aspects of life, and Hillary Clinton, among these other women, has helped us on breaking the glass. In present day, we have many women who are fighting for a change, but two women who have helped create political change are Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Hillary Clinton. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the second female justice of the U.S. Supreme Court, and she helped make a landmark decision in the United States versus Virginia, so women could no longer be denied into the military. Clinton helped develop both the Paycheck Fairness Act and the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Although the Paycheck Fairness Act was rejected, she still helped women get closer to pay equality, instead of just sitting around and waiting for a change. Some may challenge my view by insisting that women have equal rights in the United States, so there is no reason to keep fighting. However, like I have stated before, the Equal Rights Amendment has not been passed, so while men have equal rights, women do not have equal rights under the law. Also, even though we do have many rights in the United States that other women do not have in different parts of the world, this does not mean that we will be treated as social equals. Women are treated extremely differently from men in our society, and we must keep fighting for equality because it is our society that promotes many of the issues women face. While the issues that white women face are troubling, women of color face plenty of discrimination. One of the main issues that women face is pay equality, and while white women earn 80 cents for every dollar earned by a man, African American women only earn 64 cents, and Latina women only earn 56 cents per dollar. White women also got the right to vote in 1920, but people of color did not get the right to vote until August 6, 1965, which is also a big issue. Women of color are not treated the same way as other women because they are judged on their skin color, which shows even more clearly that prejudice and racism still exist. Women of color also have to worry more about their appearance, as Western beauty standards are seen as ideal and beautiful, when we know that this is far from the truth. In a study done from Cornell University, they found that when white females put on an additional 64 pounds, her wages dropped 9%. On top of that, countries around the world such as Lebanon and Japan are the countries with the most plastic surgery procedures. In Japan, 30% of Japanese women in their 20s are categorized as underweight. When I picture the word beauty, it is intersectional and involves women who are overweight, average weight, black, white, Asian, and etc. Beauty is not defined in a clear-cut image of a tall, skinny, white, blonde girl, and the amount of effort women have to put into their appearance is ridiculous. Adding on to the wage gap, some may say that the wage gap does not exist, as it's already been fixed because of the Equal Pay Act of 1963. While many may say that the Equal Pay Act has fixed things and now women get paid as much as the next man does, that's actually not true. In 1963, women were paid 59 cents for every dollar a man makes, and now women are paid 80 cents for every dollar a man makes. If the Equal Pay Act had worked, then the wage gap would have been fixed 50 years ago, but that still exists and leaves many of us to question why. One of the reasons the EPA has not worked is those who do file a lawsuit or claim against their company for unequal pay are rarely punished. All companies have to do is pay a fee for 2 years to a plaintiff, which is not that much for large companies. Another issue with the wage gap is that women tend to choose lower paying careers. However, even though women do choose lower paying careers, a wage gap is still there. Now, some may say that if a woman decided to choose lower paying jobs, then they deserve lower pay. While I agree that those who work harder deserve more pay, most women are unable to make it as far up in work ranks as men. Most women tend to choose lower paying jobs because those are the jobs available to them. Most women grow up knowing that they will have to work 10 times harder than a man has to get to the same rank. So even if a woman does have more education than her fellow male co-worker, workers will still discriminate based on sex and offer a man a higher paid position. This is why it is necessary that women are paid as much as a man for equal work. Women cannot survive off of just 80 cents to $1 or less, and it is time that we fix the wage gap so we can move further as a society. The hot topic to debate in politics right now is reproductive rights, mostly surrounding around the issue of abortion and whether or not a woman has the right to choose. If we start back in the 1960s when it was illegal for contraceptives to be sold to even married couples until the case of Griswold versus Connecticut, which then allowed for the sale of contraceptives to married couples, and later in Eisenstadt versus Berard, unmarried women were able to purchase contraceptives. If we think back about how far back the 1960s were, it really was not long ago. I mean, imagine if you had to get a marriage license before you could purchase a condom. That seems completely strange in our society today, and it is strange because when we restrict people from having access to contraceptives, it leads to higher rates of unprotected sex. This concept applies also to the funding of Planned Parenthood, which many want to shut down because they provide abortion. While Planned Parenthood does offer abortions, they also offer contraceptives, testing and treatment for STIs, screening for cervical and other cancers, and much more. If we think about it, does defunding Planned Parenthood really seem like the best option? I mean, if we defund Planned Parenthood, yes, abortions will stop momentarily, but that will also guarantee that women will not have affordable access to cancer screenings, prenatal health, STI treatment, and contraceptives. The best way to stop abortions is to educate students by instilling sex education in schools. Abstinence-only programs provide inaccurate and alarmist misinformation about the effectiveness of condoms, contraception, and safer sex. So schools that provide these programs are only misleading kids into having unprotected sex. We need programs to promote safe sex and explain contraceptives to students because if students are educated, it leads to lower rates of abortion and teenage pregnancy. Rape culture is also another topic that is up for debate but really shouldn't be, as it is very prevalent in our society. It is within our lives as people blame the victim, trivialize sexual assault, tolerance of sexual harassment, inflating false rape report statistics, and more. We laugh off jokes about sexual assault like they are nothing and make fun of those who say that it's not cool to joke about rape by saying they are too politically correct. But preventing rape culture is not about just trying to be politically correct. Preventing rape culture is about helping the victims speak out about their assault, as only 20% of female student victims report to law enforcement. Preventing rape culture is about creating a culture where women can embrace their sexuality and not be called a slut, even though boys and men are congratulated for the same behavior. Preventing rape culture is also about not letting such big scandals ever happen again, such as the Baylor University sexual assault scandal. In early 2016, it was revealed that Baylor football players had been reported for sexual assault since 2014. However, these players were not punished, and many who filed sexual assault reports simply were answered with a "we're looking into it," with their case never to be looked at again because they are football players. This case shows rape culture at its finest, as these players were not punished simply because they played football. Rape culture is alive and thriving, and we need to work on getting rid of it and not just letting these cases slide by because people are worried about the players' careers. If you rape someone, you are a rapist. It's simple as that. Some may say that these cases are just a few and that rape culture is not alive in the United States, but that these cases were just blown up by the media. And yes, I agree that oftentimes the media does blow up things that are unnecessary, but is it that always the case? Does the media purposely look for cases to draw attention and worry towards? I believe it does not. The media do not blow up these cases for fun. The media expose the cases because it is necessary to draw attention to these issues in order to make a change. If the media decided to ignore this issue and only focus on lighthearted issues, no one would be working to make a change against rape culture, and we need all the help we can get. Feminism has changed a lot over the past 80 years, and it will continue to grow until women get full equality. The powerful women that have been involved in this movement thus far, and those who will become involved, are allowing this movement to thrive. As we continue to work towards equality, we need to realize that women's rights do not just benefit women, but everyone. Women's rights are human rights. It's as simple as that. When women are educated, a community can thrive. And just like a seed needs water to grow into a tree, a woman needs an education and empowerment in order to thrive. To continue towards equality, we need to stop violence against women, bring women into power, stop child marriage through helping girls get an education, and empower mothers. We also need to finally fix the wage gap by working towards passing the Pay Equality Act so that women get the pay that they deserve. Through complete